Hey y'all, it's Bailey with Reclaim Grace. I'm so happy you clicked on this video. We are going to be doing thrifted canister makeovers. In today's video, nothing but canister transformations. I'm saving my favorite one for last and my top selling canister that I sell like crazy in my booths. Y'all let me know which one is your favorite and we're going to get started right now. I hope everyone is doing well today. Our first set of canisters is a rescue from the Goodwill outlet bin store. It was like my second time ever visiting one of those stores. I was away for a business trip and one was close by, so you knew I had to go. So I'm not exactly sure how much I paid for these, but I'm sure it was less than $2 or $3. I've already given them a good clean, but we have to get rid of the labels that were falling apart and they were not in good shape. So I used my heat gun to reactivate that glue and peeled them off, and now we need to get rid of that sticky residue, and I'm just going to dump some lemon essential oil on top of the sticky residue, and I'll use my finger to just scrape it off, and then I'll come in with a rag and wipe any excess glue and oil away. You can see the insides of these are not in good shape, so I went and gave them a quick coat of flat black spray paint inside and out. We're going to be using Sweet Pickins milk paint. This comes in a powdered formula. This is the color artichoke. This is the first time I've used this green, and it is a true 70s green. I love it. I did 2 scoops of powder with 2 scoops of water. I let that sit up for about 10 to 15 minutes to thicken up, showing you our base layer of that flat black spray paint. And now we're going to start painting our canisters. I'm going to leave that bottom of the container black, and I'm going to be careful at cutting around the top so I don't get any milk paint dripping on the inside, because we're also going to be leaving it black. I'm going to go ahead and apply my first layer of milk paint. Honestly, one of them did some good chipping, but I did not get the crackle I was expecting on these, but that's fine. It's kind of unpredictable. You never really know what you're going to get when you work with milk paint. I applied 2 coats to all 4 canisters, drying in between with my heat gun. Only 3 of the canisters had lids, so we're going to make that 4th canister one for utensils and, wooden utensils, make it look pretty. I'm going to paint just this top, what is this called? I'm having a blank. Handle with a few coats of milk paint. You can see on the left, that's the one that got some good chipping, but the rest did not. I'm going to come in with a new to me paint. This is Paint Couture's chalk paint line in Farmhouse Linen. I wanted to try this paint out and I like it. It's fine. I'm going to paint these labels very, very carefully, just cutting in with a small artist brush, and I did 2 coats. We are going to be stamping on top of that white chalk paint with apothecary stamps. I'm going to be using this small font right here. I'm spelling out the word sugar with my small letters, and then I will pick up with a piece of plastic, apply my permanent IOD black ink, and I will very carefully line that up, get it into position, and press down on the letters very lightly, because these will, if you press too hard, they'll kind of mess up on you. So that's not a perfect straight word, but it's fine. These are supposed to look vintage. I did sugar, coffee, flour on the 3 containers. And the one without the lid, I just added this cute embellishment that came in the stamp set. I wanted to put utensils on it, but unfortunately that word would not fit. We are going to seal our milk paint and the inside of the canister with Sweet Pickins dark oil wax. You can see that actually chipped down to the silver instead of the black flat spray paint primer. So that happens sometimes, but I just went with it. I think it turns out fine in the end. I'm going to apply this dark oil wax over the entire container, working it into that milk paint with a chip brush that I don't mind messing up. I'm going to go ahead and take a baby wipe and wipe back the white paint so it doesn't turn it too dark. Get off my fingerprint there, and then I'm going to let the rest sit and soak into the milk paint while I'm working on the other canisters. By the time I got done applying the oil wax on all 4 canisters and the 3 lids, it was time to come in and wipe off all the excess oil using a few blue shop towels. Try not to leave your fingerprints on anything because it will show in the end. So make sure you wipe off any fingerprints. And y'all, these are simple, but I think they are a true 70s mid-century modern granny chic vibe. I love how they came out. I'm gonna price this set of 4 for $56.95. Y'all let me know what y'all think about these. Our next canister is a glass with a wood top. I picked up for $3.99 at Salvation Army. We're going to get rid of that tag and give everything a good clean. And I had some leftover artichoke milk paint, so we're going to use that up. I'm going to start by applying it to the outside of the lid, being careful not to get any on that bottom, what's it called? I cannot think today. The seal on the bottom. This is how it looks after one coat. I'm going to come in, dry that coat with my heat gun like usual, and apply a second coat and dry that one with my heat gun as well. Now let's clean up that glass using some Windex. We're going to be adding a transfer to this, so we need to make sure it's nice and clean, and we're going to let that cleaner dry before we add our transfer. I'm going to use this gorgeous bird. I love these sets of birds. I think this one came out of Katharina IOD transfer book. Transfers apply so easily to glass. I'm just going to use that little burnishing tool to apply it. Burnish it with my hands and that protective backing to make sure it's good and stuck down. Then I'm going to come back over to my lid and do a little bit of light distressing, and we'll get that sealed in with some Fusion Agent Wax. And that's it for this one. I'm going to price this for $19.95. Y'all let me know what y'all think about this one. Now this canister has been sitting in my stash for a while. It's taken me a while to get inspired to make it over, but it just hit me one day. We're going to turn it into a strawberry canister. Get it cleaned up. As you can see, I paid $3 for it. I'm going to take this seal off, wipe it down, and set it to the side so I do not lose it. And we're going to be using the Wild Berries IOD mold. I'm going to dust it with cornstarch. This will help our clay release. I'm going to knock off any excess cornstarch. You don't want a lot of excess in the mold. And we're going to be using our IOD clay. This is air dry clay. We're going to start by warming it up in our hands and trying to form it into a rough shape. And then we'll start pressing it into our mold. I'm going to use my fingers just to press it in there very well, and we'll start using that micro rim with our thumb to get off any excess clay. We are going to gently flex the mold, flip it over, and peel the mold back from the casting. I did have a little bit of breakage, but it is not a big deal. I'm going to cast a few other berries and set them to the side that we can use on the top of the lid. I'm going to use my Titebond Quick and Thick for the glue medium, spreading that out with my fingers, making sure I get it all the way to the edge and on every surface. Then we will just gently flip it over and position it on the canister where we want it. We'll gently press down, making sure everything is made good contact and there's not any large gaps. And then we're going to glue on our smaller strawberries to our lid. I'm going to use a wet paintbrush and a wet paper towel to get any excess glue squeeze out off of our canister, because that will show up in the end. Next, I'm going to base coat our canister. I'm using this metallic copper color. I thought it would look really good being distressed back to this color in the end. I just did one coat on the lid and the base of the canister. This is a little out of order. As you can see, our canister is not base coated. I mixed up some salt wash and some DIY vintage linen paint. I wanted a thick mixture and to have some texture in my paint. So I mixed that up and then I base coated my canister. So now that paint is good and thick. So we're going to use a paintbrush we don't really care about and apply that thick mixture all over our canister. I just kind of get the paint on at first, and then I will come back and stipple and pounce that paint to create some peaks and valleys and lots of texture. Most of the time when you apply a clay mold or a resin mold to a surface, you're going to have some gaps. So applying a thick paint and working it into those areas where the clay meets your surface will really blend that area and make it look like one. So I like to take that thick mixture and shove it into all those cracks. I'm just going to finish coating this canister. I did the lid as well, and I went ahead and applied 2 coats and let that thoroughly dry. And now I'm coming in with a baby wipe, and we're going to do a little bit of wet distressing to bring back that pretty copper color. We are going to be adding some color to our canisters. So before I come in with any color, I'm going to seal over the entire painted surface with polyacrylic in the matte sheen. I'm using my water bottle just to help the clear coat go on a little bit easier so it's not so grabby, and I just went ahead and applied one even coat. So I have some Crimson by Waverly and a Nude to Me paint. I forgot the name of this color, but it's the new Fusion line in a gorgeous sage green. I ordered it from my friend at J. Bowen & Company. Emily has a wonderful website full of goodies. So I'm going to come in with some artist brushes and paint our strawberries. I'm just doing one coat with the color, and I'm just taking my time. This is in time for speed, so this did take a little while. I'm going to paint all the greens of the leaves and the stems going around the flowers in the mold and around the strawberries. Just meeting up that green with the red, kind of cleaning that red up a little bit. And then I'm going to come in with a more of an off-white color to paint the flowers. I wanted the flowers to be a little bit of a different white, so I'm going to use cashmere, and I'm only doing one coat of all of these colors. Once I get the flower petals painted, I'm going to come in with Prairie Sunset. This is a gorgeous light yellow, and paint the center of our flowers. Let that dry, and then I'm going to do a light dry brush just to tone it back just a smidge. Next, we're going to come in and add a different texture with Pintart's Fine Line Crackle. This is the component 1 I'm applying first, just in a haphazard manner, kind of doing just some random brush strokes all over with the component 1. I let that dry for about 2 hours before I came in with the second component. This one is a lot more runnier, so you have to be careful because the amber color of this product will show some amber runs if you get it on too thick. So try to apply this one more evenly, but we're going to apply it in the same way all over the canister, right on top of that dried component 1. Next, we're going to come in with Fusion Agent Wax, and we're going to wax up this entire canister, working the wax into the details of the mold and around, trying to shove it into the little cracks we got with the Fine Line Crackle. I'll be honest, I didn't get as much crackle as I wanted with that product, but I think it's because of all the texture we created with the salt wash. It still crackled some, and I think that was just enough for this project. I think this one came out great. I love that copper distressing coming through our paint job and all the texture on this project. I'm going to price this one for $27.95. What do y'all think about this one? It is not possible for me to create a canister video without including my top selling canister makeover, mushroom canisters. So that's the vision for these. I picked up this set of 3 canisters from Salvation Army for about $6 for all 3. We're going to tape up these insides just to seal off from any paint getting on the inside, because we want these to be 100% food safe. We're going to come in with some fine grit sandpaper and scuff up that outside slick surface to give our paint a good honest shot of sticking. I'm going to prime the outside of these with some paint and primer all-in-one spray paint in a black color. I'm out of my favorite spray paint, but this worked pretty good. Picked it up from Tractor Supply, and it's a little bit cheaper than the enamel spray paint I typically use. I did 2 light layers of spray paint on our canisters, and I did flip them over to get that inside lip as well. So here is the star of the show, the mushroom IOD mold. Y'all, this is my most used mold that I own. We're going to dust them with cornstarch and press our IOD clay in there and use our thumbs to scrape off any excess clay. And I just went ahead and cast a few mushrooms that I thought I would use. Then we're going to flex our mold, flip it over, and let our castings fall out, gently helping it along with our fingers and flexing that mold so they come out easier. And here is our larger canister. That tape did a great job sealing up the inside. We're going to start applying our castings with some Titebond Quick and Thick. I'm going to apply this large mushroom. This is my favorite one out of that mold. It is gorgeous. I'm a huge mushroom fan, y'all. And we're going to apply this little baby one beside it. And the one on the right, I changed my mind. I casted a larger mushroom, and we're going to place this one on this side. We're going to clean up all the excess glue squeeze out with a wet wipe and a paintbrush. I'm going to lightly place some masking tape over our castings just so they do not slip and slide as they are drying. Then we're going to move on to our medium canister. I'm just going to apply one mushroom on this one and the smaller canister. I let the glue and clay dry overnight, and now I'm just going to come in and remove that masking tape and the tape on the inside. And man, that inside came out great. That was a good technique. I'll definitely be trying that again. That saves a lot of cleanup. We still have a little bit of cleanup at the end. I'll show y'all whenever we get there. So here is how we are looking so far. It's looking great. We're going to come in with some color now. This is an also new to me product, the color Clay Emily sent me from the new Fusion paint line. I'm going to thicken it up a bit with about half salt wash to half paint. Get that stirred together and mixed well, and then we're going to start pouncing that paint on. I like to start on the bottom of my containers, and then I will work around my molds, shoving that thick paint in between the cracks of the clay and the surface. Then we're going to go ahead and get the rest of this container painted. Leaving the actual molds blank, we'll come back and paint them different a little while later. When it comes time to painting the actual castings, I'm just going to use the paint out of the jar instead of the paint mixture with the salt wash. I don't want to fill in all that gorgeous detail with the thickened paint. Once my 2 coats of paint are good and dry, we're going to go ahead and seal these up with my polyacrylic in the matte sheen. Just going to apply one even coat on the entire canister and the lid. As you can see, as I'm applying this sealer on top of this new Fusion line, it is deepening that color, and I absolutely love this color. It is gorgeous. It kind of reminds me of DIY paint. As you seal it, the color deepens. It's important to have all the canisters sealed up before coming in with this next step. We're going to be doing kind of a wash over our canisters. So I got a few baby wipes out, and I'm going to mist down the canister and then come in with DIY clay-based paint and vintage linen and apply a even, very thin layer of paint. We're going to work in sections, making sure that paint is in all the details of the mold. Then we're going to grab our baby wipe and start wiping and dabbing back the paint, pulling back as much as you want, really. The paint's wet, it's very pliable and movable, and since we sealed our project first, you have a lot of control. It was taking off a little bit too much for my liking, so I grabbed a blue shop towel, and y'all, look at that difference in bringing out the details. It's fabulous. I'm going to finish up working in sections. If my paint gets a little too dry, I will mist it with my Dollar Tree mister bottle. Mine messed up. I cannot find a good mister bottle to save my life. They croak out after about a month, and I'm tired of spending money on them. We're going to do the same thing with the lids. I'm just going to go ahead and do the entire lid and then grab a baby wipe and dab and wipe. Same process to all 3 canisters and all 3 lids. That wash dried very quickly, and when we come in and seal our project for the final time, it's going to tone down that white just a smidge. So we're just going to do one more even layer of the polyacrylic matte on all canisters and the lids. Our last step is just to clean up this little bit of overspray. I have a baby wipe and it was coming off with the baby wipe, but I dipped the baby wipe in just a little bit of paint thinner and it wiped right off. And here's our finished project. I love making these mushroom canisters, y'all. Have y'all ever made any? They are such great sellers. They sell pretty much the first few days I have them in my booth. I'm going to price this set of 3 for $55.95. Y'all let me know what y'all think about these. I have a few changes coming up at the end of May. I'm going to be closing my booth at Lola's Vignettes in Goldsboro, North Carolina, and doing a booth expansion at Coppermill in Kinston, North Carolina. This will be way easier for me just to have one large booth to work on and focus my energy in. I plan on bringing y'all along for that booth build and expansion and just along for the ride in general. So make sure you stick around for that. If you got any inspiration from today's video, hit that like button. Let me know which canister was your favorite down in the comments, and consider subscribing if you have not already. Here's some cute pictures of Roscoe, and no, these pictures are not upside down. He's upside down. He's a mess. I love him so much. Thank y'all for spending your time with me today. I'll see y'all in the next one. Bye.